Is this better? Can you hear? Is it?
Weird feedback noise.
Interesting.
Sounds like a pump running.
That's
Yeah, that
weird.
noise doesn't exist in real life.
That's a weird sound. Why is that?
Pick a different mic, I'd say.
Okay, it's using my... Weird. Alright. Sorry.
And it turned the music off, too.
I turned it off,
Oh, okay.
just in case. Let's try this mic. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's fine. That's normal.
Weird. What mic is that? That's the my face cam. Does it sound good?
Yeah, just don't have the music on super loud and you're fine.
Okay, let's go back to the... Where are you? How's that? Is the music too loud?
It's okay.
I'll turn it down a little bit. There we go. Whoops, is my camera working? Or is it just like a flat?
Yeah, you're fine. All the cameras are fine. Oh, no, hold on. Now it's frozen. Technical difficulties day.
Yeah, I shifted some things. Sorry, let's see if I can get this going.
At least it paused on a good still shot.
Yeah.
Now it's just black.
No, I deactivated and activated it again to see if it would, if to unplug it and plug it back in. That's unfortunate. Let's try that. It was working before. Oh, there we go. Now I bet you all my settings are gone.
Yeah, the color balance is really pink again.
Oh no. Sorry people. This is it's one of those days. Okay.
Sure it's not a Monday?
Yes, it's my Monday, I guess. So let's see now. Automatically. That's not bad. Let's see now. That's not too bad actually.
Good enough. Onwards.
No, that's too much.
Did you maybe something? Oh no, you're...
No, that's not. I think that's not too bad, the contrast. Because the white looks over bleached, but
Yes, fine.
the blue looks okay.
It's
Maybe
pretty good.
tone down the brightness a little bit. There we go. I think that's better. Sorry about that. Problems. Alright, so first thing you may have noticed is that the pretzel music thing doesn't show up anymore. And that's because thanks to my my $10 donation, we now have bought free music for this month. So this will be playing, just won't be a host or won't be chatting all the time. And then I just recently got 100 followers, and so we're gonna be doing a giveaway. And the giveaway is gonna be either. Do I have two mics on? Oh my god! Sorry. Apparently another difficulty. Okay. How is this? Is this a better mic? Is this the bad one?
It's fine. One mic is on. I can hear you.
Sorry. Alright. So, we're doing a 100 follower giveaway. To enter, all you need to do is just talk to me in the chat. You get one, I guess, entry per day for if you ask questions or just say hi or whatever. As well as, so the prize is going to be either, you get your pick, a miniature, like a 30 millimeter size miniature at advanced quality. I'll do it on stream, I think, depending on the miniature. Depends how BG it is. Or an hour of tutoring, one-on-one and over Discord or Skype or whatever. Or $100 worth of Rain City Hobbies. And so this is my other project. I sculpt and sell bases. And so I've just finished a line of 40K style bases. And these are Demon World ones. So here's a 60 mil. Here's a bunch of skulls and eyes and whatever. And then just a whole bunch of different weird, wacky styles of just like torment and, you know, skulls and stuff like that. Eyes and skulls. And so these are just some of the examples. So $100 worth of that. I also got like tons of other types of bases, inserts and accessories such as like base details, so like grass tufts and debris and stuff like that. And so, okay. And the contest ends at the end of April, so you guys have pretty much 2/3 of the month to.
We'll draw it on May 1st on the stream.
We'll be drawing on May 1st on stream, so just letting you guys know. And so we'll be back with this Roboute Guilliman. So the sword's mostly done. I want a little more yellow in there, just a little more in the center. But I may be doing a little touch-ups like that off stream. And then the flamey's a bit touch-ups, but that's about it. So today is just going to be a whole bunch of metal trim on the guy's arm and stuff like that. I might just do his whole backpack, just one solid color. Or a metallic. And then his face, obviously. And then all the details, because his symbol, ultimate symbols, and his little scrolly bits is white and stuff like that. And I'll be doing all little things like that. Okay. Oh, let's get started, shall we? A little disorganized for some reason. Oh, let me just get my paints out. So this is all my paints are P3. So this is the molten bronze. Since it's metallics, gotta give it a good shake. Okay, I'm just gonna start working on all the trim. And some things I'm just going to simplify because I think it looks better. Because like he normally has like these blue abs, but I'm just going to give him like his front kind of like just all gold. I like how like the Roman soldiers have like those breastplates that are all, I think they're all solid gold. Or not gold, bronze or whatever metal they used. Because it's got the same kind of like ab pattern as the Romans had. At least the officers had something similar to that. Pretty sure all the grunts didn't really have that kind of intricate kind of armor, but I'm not really a Roman historian. Okay. The Ultramarines are very much heavily inspired by the Romans, hence all the laurels and stuff. So we're just doing a whole bunch of trim today. Hopefully it's not too bad, because that's all it really is, just trimming it up. Let's see. If you guys have any questions, let me know about painting or about anything in general, really, or about the contest, the giveaway, Or if you guys are painting anything, it'd be kind of cool to see. Talk about what you guys are painting. Or what you guys aspire to paint. Some people have a hard time getting the, what do you call it again? Inspiration to paint. When I do my own stuff, when I used to do my own tabletop stuff, I used to play with my guys all the time unpainted. And then whenever they did good jobs on the battlefield, I'd like to paint them up the next day. It's kind of fun like that.
I like you get to reminisce about the days where you painted your own stuff.
Yes, reminiscing about the days I actually painted my own stuff. Now I paint. Only time I paint for myself is when I'm doing competitions, and that's a little different. You never actually get to play with it.
Quote unquote paint for yourself.
Yeah. At least I gotta keep some of it. Okay.
Like the really cool Mistriders no one's ever played with?
Yes. I don't think... Those were a long time ago, those Mistriders I did. Okay.
Yeah, I guess they really were.
What, was it over 2 years ago I did those Mistriders? The fancy swirly cloaks?
3.
Yeah. Never used them. Got best in category at Lock and Load, but I haven't seen a tabletop since. And even on workable bases, because most of the time all my entries are in like display kind of like scenic bases where it doesn't actually have the proper base. But that's kind of how you have to win, is basically doing their own display bases. Doing a normal base is not a good way of getting you to win. Not very interesting either, because if you're doing like competition entry stuff, you want to like kind of like paint and build a story with your miniature.
Well, you want to be painting for the competition, not just for the table.
Yeah, you definitely also don't paint for your army. Paint for the competition.
I'm really excited to see what people bring to the sagebrush this year, because I know a lot of people were really interested in getting that feedback last year to paint something specifically for the competition.
Can they hear you properly? That's good. There you go. Got a new mic setup, I guess, so now you can hear my moderator/girlfriend.
The most glamorous title.
Mod girl.
Yeah, no, not that.
Mod girl. Okay. I think that chest is good enough for now. On to the army arms. Actually, let's do his head. I like to work my way from the outside in. Let's double check now. Look at his... Yeah, he does have a gold unibrow. Okay. Huh? I'm not going to answer my phone. How loud is that on this?
It's not the nicest.
Okay. Normally this part would be all covered by the guy's like halo and wings, but the client didn't want it for this guy, so we're gonna have an open back area. And now that I'm doing all the gold trim, you can kind of see where the blue is maybe not perfectly blended, so I might go back and just touch up a little bit.
It's all going according to plan.
Yes. Yes, it is. Alright. Is that gold now? No, it's white. Okay. So he's got white on white on white on his shoulder pad. Interesting. Bold choice. Because he's got the white Ultramar symbol, or Omega symbol, and the white scroll work. Then he's got white, like, halo coming off of it. So. Very bold. Okay. I might make the scroll work more cream, because I think it would look weird otherwise. Okay. And his gauntlet is pretty much all gold, I think. Hello everybody, how's everybody doing today? Painting up this... They're all in what? None of them are?
Well, there's a few people.
Okay. If you guys just started watching, I'm doing a giveaway contest this month for my 100 followers. So all you need to do to enter is you can just basically just talk to me. 1 entry per day. It's gotta say hi or ask questions or whatever you feel like. And the prizes are advanced quality miniature. I'll be painting on stream probably, depending on how PG it is. Like a 30mm advanced quality miniature, which is like my mid-tier, or an hour of tutoring online, like Skype or Discord or whatever is best for you. Or I also have a basing, what do you call it? A basing store where I sell bases like this. Here's a 60mm base for my new line of Demon World bases. And so. Nice and scary stuff. Also, another style of the Demon World. This is the 32. Here's a 40. Lots of skulls and creepy bits. Alright. And so the $100 worth of store credit on that. You get pick one of those. So it's very easy to enter, and you only have 21, 22 days left.
Well, fewer than that, because we do not stream every day.
Oh yeah, that's true. But you can only enter during my streaming days. And I won't be streaming this Friday either, so even less chances. Because I'll be, oh hey! Well, you just entered by talking to me, so that's all you need to do. Is just say hi. How's it going, Papa Juliet? Are you gonna say hi, Cat?
Hi.
Oops. Okay.
There also won't be a stream next Thursday either.
Oh, why next Thursday?
Because we're going to a concert.
Oh yeah, so we're going to a concert on next Thursday, so no streaming on that day either. Just so you know.
Weird abridged April schedule.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, he's coming along nicely. I'll soon be done all these bloody trim, so I can start doing, going faster, I guess, because this trim takes forever.
I really enjoyed the brief moment where we were like, oh, there's only trim on the legs, and then he looked at it again.
Yeah. Well, at least one shoulder pad is pretty much all gold, so don't have to worry about that. Yeah, and this isn't even tiny trim. Like, this is like pretty bold and out and like, you know, predominant. But like, oh my god, some models just have like the teeniest little. And this is actually kind of easy. It's just a lot of it. Tiny trim. Oh my god, like on a small 30mm model, those are just so tedious. Especially if you're doing a squad of them. The chibi version. I don't have. Is it this guy? No. It's like a mini-me version, really. I don't have any. No. Is there actually a chibi version of the.
I think there's some illicit chibis out there, but.
So that's actually. Because that'd be kind of cool. Little.
An actual one from them?
Yeah. Let's see. Let's make this gold too. Is that? Oh, it's like a bar. Okay. Let's make that gold too. Same with this part. Let's see now. I'm doing this is for myself kind of. This is more like a test model for like a competition. I'm basically working on lighting right now, and so I'm trying to do like natural light coming from this side, and then the side which is most unpainted right now is gonna have like blue from like, so like, you know how the sun kind of gives like a yellowy kind of light from this side. I'm gonna have like the backlight can be a little darker, but it's gonna be blue because the sky kind of normally. So I'm basically working on my lighting from this guy. And also it's a good way to show off my base because this is one of my it's kind of hard to tell right now, but it's one of my like one of these style bases, and so I'm just playing around with it. This was this is what I did last night in a couple hours. Just did some playing around. He's like a Nurgle kind of dude because I have a bunch of like the old not the old one, but like the what are the older not Kickstarters, the army boxes, the newer Nurgle guys, and so I'm gonna use these cultists to kind of match that. So I'm just working on my rust and stuff. Oh no, I don't use airbrush, at least not for like stuff like this. I have a whole bunch of chibi models in the airbrush, but this is all done by hand. This is all just layering and stuff. And I'm just contemplating if I want to make them all dirty looking, like give them like what do you call it again, like muck and like just like stuff coming out. Because he's Nurgle, right? So I might give him like stains everywhere, but I don't know if that's gonna make him improve the model or just make him look messy. And so, just.
I'm not sure doing dirty is really gonna help you for your Grandmaster piece.
Yeah, no. Thanks. So yeah, this is what I did last night. Though today I'm not going to be painting for myself because the new Fallout bit DLC, the Sheep Squatch thing has came out. So me and my girlfriend will play after the stream probably. Is it Sheep Squatch or is this something else?
Sheep Squatch.
Yeah, it's Sheep Squatch. And so we're gonna play some Fallout together. What else is gold on his head? Okay, this part is gold.
I do. I'm just not nearly as talented as Todd.
She's a very good painter. Just needs a little more practice. She doesn't paint every day like I do. Oh, does he have gold? Let's see his head. I think he has gold like right here. Okay. That breaks up his head a little more. Yes. well, Cat doesn't really get or miniature game. I want her to. She hasn't found an army she likes yet. She used to do orcs.
I like board games.
And board games are fun. There's not too many miniature games or board games that have great miniatures though. Except for like, you know, like Kingdom Death. But
that Smog was actually a really nice quality. It was a lot nicer than I was expecting.
yeah, it was actually that small game. Was it Smog Rise of the Murloc? What? It was a cool mini game. Yeah, it was very good miniatures detail. It was actually quite good. And a very interesting Cthulhu style model. I like that a lot. One of the reasons why I got it.
It had really good art direction.
Yeah. Have yet to play it though. We got it last year. Let's see now.
I really should try Moonstone too, because that style appeals to me a lot.
The game direction or the model direction?
The models were good. People say it's fun.
Okay.
One day.
Yes. We have a lot of board games and miniature games to play. Okay. Stupid deep trim.
Don't complain about deep trim, because the next thing you paint will be like shallow, barely there, and that's so much worse.
I don't know. It's the edges of the trim is the worst. Okay. So the gun's gonna be mostly silver, I think. And give it a bunch of like dirt and stuff like that. Like he's like firing on the carbon basically. Let's see. This guy? I just looked off of the website for GW Games Workshop website. I'm kind of, because I'm not going to do studio quality because that's like hundreds of hours, and this is only like currently 4.5-ish hours in, so I'm just gonna simplify some things. So like his belly's supposed to have like blue there, but like I think it looks better with just like solid gold in the belly where the abs are. And so I do simplify a few things, but I mean, just the way I'd like to do it. Let's work on his backpack too. What's gonna be gold? Yeah, his backpack doesn't need any blue. I'm just gonna.
Might have been okay blue if you had the wing piece.
Yeah, like because like the wings are like solid gold, so had I had the wings, I would have just did more blue. But since it doesn't, I'm gonna do less blue. Where am I gold? I'm basically towards the end stage of this guy, really. I think it's my last day of streaming him, so the rest is just gonna be touching up off stream, so it's not gonna be a huge deal. Like just basically work on this sword a bit more. It's not gonna change that much fundamentally. It's just gonna be, well, at least better for my eye at the very least. Kind of sad he didn't have like the wings on his back. I really like that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I did that last stream. I went for like a forged sword, so like how like he heats up in one area kind of thing. Kind of like how these things are like kind of like those little I don't know what they're called, wires I guess into the sword, heating it up there. So and the murky kind of carbonized sword. So I just basically found the image of like a forged sword and just kind of replicated it like that. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know, like it's a power sword, so I'm not a huge fan of like the blue power sword look. It just looks like a glass sword to me, and so it looks very, very flimsy, and it's gonna like shatter next time you hit somebody with it. So, I mean, it looks kind of cool, but it just doesn't look practical. Well, I'm sure a flaming sword doesn't not really practical either, but at least it'll burn somebody if you hit it with it. While glass shard would just like do nothing against people, especially wearing armor. I'm gonna do a little bit of blue on the backpack, but that's about it. Oh yeah, this guy's stupid. This part. I'll try and make most of his pipes like black. Alright. I haven't done 40k models in a while, and recently I've just got a whole bunch of them. It's a nice.
Weird. You went like what, a year and a half with no one booking any 40k? And
Yeah.
Like all the 40k?
Yeah, I have one client who's just going like all the 40k, and all my local guys who haven't done in a while now they want new 40k armies. They're all Space Marine armies, but they're all like Death Guard and Salamanders, and even and then Ultramarines in this case. This guy's start of a new army. Do I want more gold in his head?
But hey, you finally get to paint a Doomsteel army.
Yes. I'm a big fan of. I used to play 40k, and I used to play Tyranids, but I've always wanted a nice Doomsteel army ever since like the 3rd or 4th edition, because they had like the cool miniatures and all like the cool cult guys, but they had terrible miniatures, or very few too. And so finally got some very nice looking sexy guys. Sexy bald cultists. Now, I don't play anymore, but I do want to paint them. And I almost wanted to make like a diorama, but that's a
Project for another day?
that's for another decade.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be not molten gold. What is this? This is really gold. It's dwarf gold, basically. I'm going to add a bit of quicksilver to just make it a little brighter. What was the last game you played, Kat?
Kingdom Death?
Yes, Kingdom Death. We have pretty much all the stuff for Kingdom Death monster game. But that was a while ago.
I'm like a weird playing break right now.
Yeah, I used to play War Machine. I'm waiting until the Infernals come out because they're very cool looking models. They're kind of my aesthetic. They're very like horror and like, you know, like Lovecraft alien, which is kind of cool. I like that a lot. I'm a big fan of Lovecraft and his works. Maybe not all of his ideas, but he has some pretty good imagination. But yeah. We try and play and get most of the Kingdom Death stuff because Cat really likes that guy. He has some really good art and models and employs some very good artists. We saw him at Gen Con a couple years ago. Adam Poots. Seemed like a cool guy. Didn't really talk to him, but I saw his whole setup. It was very nice.
Yeah, it was like the busiest Gen Con ever.
Yeah. That was our first and only Gen Con for now. It was a lot more a lot more busier than I thought it was gonna be. 100,000 people every day?
No, 60,000.
And 60,000 every day in like a kilometer long complex. Quite ridiculous. Yeah, I've never seen that before. Like, I've done like lots of white metal stuff, but never like something like that. So I'm assuming it's gonna be similar to like a pewter miniature, but I'll never know. Cause it's like a 3D miniature that's being printed in like resin, and then they make a mold out of it with bronze. So, I mean, like, will it lose any detail during that transition, or will it like look better or worse? I don't know. Oops. So, be kind of cool. That's good.
Yeah, that would be really disappointing if you shelled out for like a bronze miniature and it came and had no detail on it.
Yeah, like his face is just a potato. No one wants an elf potato. Okay. I wasn't expecting it. Expecting the detail to be good, or just... Sorry. I have one right here. This is my last one I did. It's a tiefling mage. And so, let's see. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like there's really no detail on like the cloth part. He's just flat. Like her arms have no folds. Like I made her make my own, and like it's decent. It's a little blocky compared to most other ones. Like, but I think it's the only reason they do that is because of the material itself, right? Because the material is like very what do you call it again?
Brittle?
It's very brittle, so like you need to have it quite thick. And if you don't do it quite thick, it'll snap off very easily. So this is just the black plastic. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty decent for what it is.
For the price point, I think they're just fine.
Yeah, if you really want your own specific like D&D guy that you've done years or whatever doing a story for him, then yeah, it's kind of cool. I haven't played D&D, so I don't really understand that kind of stuff, but it's pretty good for what it is. For, I guess, was it $25 for something like that?
Yeah, I think it's that sort of price range.
Yeah, the bronze. The plastic is that. Is it a resin they have, or is it a plastic? That black thing.
No, it's ABS.
So it's plastic, right? Yeah. So it's quite light.
You have to buy the STL files to get them printed in resin.
Yeah. But here's a resin one. This is resin, right? This is from the Chibi capsule, and it's quite good. Like there's very little stepping at all. All the stuff you see that's like kind of like coming off of it. It's just like the trimmy, like the what's it called again? The connection points, I guess. But this is like a little knoll. It was quite good, and like it feels quite smooth. You can see a little bit of stepping on the sword, but I do like my knolls. They're like one of my favorite fantasy creatures.
One day I'll paint them on the stream.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, come back to this guy.
You just showed that guy off like 5 or 6 times now.
Well, he's on my desk. That's why he's so easy access. Like, I also have my my Chibi Cthulhu, which I actually finally got. I had him since the Gen Con I went to, the only Gen Con. Finally got to paint him on stream. He was a really fun paint. Still got to base him and stuff like that. Yeah. I was doing some stippling. I guess this. What's it called again? The spots? I guess. Well, stippling is on his flesh and stuff like that, but Just trying to make it look more natural and like interesting. Just playing with some like washes and stuff. Thanks. What else? I don't know. And show off my bases again. Yeah. Okay. Oh, on the Cthulhu guy? Or on the blue? Oh, yeah, well, I just use two-brush blending for these guys. And so it works really well when you go start bright and work your way dark. It's kind of hard to tell, but he has like little like dots, like bumpy kind of flesh. He's also shiny right now. He's sealed, so you don't rub off all my hard-earned paint or my. Oops, I have a little bit of dust on my brush. Thanks.
One day you'll put him on a base.
Yes. One day I'll sculpt a base for him and then put him on a base. Maybe one of my seaside bases.
He needs some sort of weird size, doesn't he? We should make a plinth for him.
Maybe a plinth.
Cthulhu plinth.
Madness plinth.
That would be cool.
Yeah, madness plinth. Tentacles and stuff. What?
Cast it.
Yeah.
And yes, applying gloss coat and then dull coat does stop all the paint from rubbing off, so you can actually handle the miniatures and play with them.
Yeah. So the gloss coat looks terrible, but it has the best protection on it. And so like it takes a long time to rub off, and it's smooth, and so like things don't really like stick to it. And then you use the dull coat to get rid of all the gloss on the gloss coat. And then after that, I'd like to do like the metals, because the gloss and dull coat kind of remove all the sheen from the metals, which is good. And then you go back over with just touching a couple edges with metal, like a metallic paint, and it works. It makes it pop. Because I've had a lot of people ask me like, how do you do your metals? And just dull it, and then just do a couple touches with silver on the edges. Works like a charm. Yes.
And having a little bit of exposed paint like that on top of your sealant is pretty safe. You're not really going to be able to rub all that off.
Yeah, I mean, worst case, if you rub off like all the silver, like a little bit of silver on the one part, you've like painted over the seal, it'll go back to like the original color, which is metal anyway. It'll just dull it a bit more, which is totally fine. Okay, I think I can just start doing the wash now. Hold on, okay. We have grass tufts, like
So the bases get sealed before stuff like static grass or flowers go on?
Yeah, so I mean, it's because like if you do like grass or flowers and you put sealant on it, it kind of can give like bead on it, and so you get like the varnish will have like little beads. So have these little like balls of like varnish.
Sticky.
Yeah, and it'll look like it might look like dew, but it'll look weird most of the time. And so you want to do like the grass tufts after that, because the grass doesn't rub off really, because it's glued on, and the pigment is actually on the grass instead of it being painted on. So you just really want to protect the paint. Okay, let's do some wash.
And I mean, worst case scenario with a grass tuft, if it gets totally wrecked, you just replace it anyways.
Yeah, it's like, because we sell them by 100, like a sheet of like 96 tufts. lots of replacements if you need to. Okay, where's my washes now? Sounds gross. Oh, the watch.
Have sealant?
Yeah. I mean, I don't normally seal after I've done like the grass, but sometimes you get a little bit of hair, and then you get like this like really white looking like piece of like not hair but like fluff, for example. It looks like a hair afterwards once you've put some sealant on it, because it just turns like pure white and actually makes it visible. Because most of the time I brush off my miniatures before I seal it, and a little bit of fluff just sometimes hangs on and it gets this like white fluff on like one area, like a hairy leg or something. It looks weird.
It's like the first thing you see in photos.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the first thing you see in.
Gross piece of old dusty fluff that you've sealed onto your miniature.
Sometimes you can just take tweezers and pull it off, but problem is if you do too much sealant, it'll leave like a weird mark in it. Where did my green go now? Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm just making a desaturated dark brown wash using brown ink and green ink. Very little amount of green to brown ratio, because the brown here is quite red, so I'm just desaturating it with some green and also adding some mixing medium. And there we go. It'd be hard to pull off like doing dew beads on your whole arm, like the miniature. If you do like, it'd be kind of cool to have like a fairy with like a bunch of like dew and stuff like that. It'd be kind of cool, but it'd be hard to pull off like the painting a portion of it.
You'd probably have to like hand dip it in clear resin.
Oh my god. That'd be scary. Hand dipping your miniatures in resin. Ugh. I'm also kind of scared of doing like water effects, because like that can just ruin, if you're not like very versed in it, it can ruin whatever you've done. Because I've seen a lot of like great miniatures, and then like they try and do like the put like rivers or whatever in it, and then it gets like really bubbly, and just like it just doesn't look as good.
Well, and the problem is you can never be 100% sure with resin, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of humidity difference and it suddenly behaves slightly differently than you're used to.
Especially when you're doing different you have to do multiple layers, right? And so the humidity changes day to day, so it could just be a little different the next day. Yeah, you're doing your second or third pour. So, not something I really want to work with. I mean, I'd like to try it out, but I'm not going to start kind of doing that for competitions anytime soon.
I feel like the amount of effort it takes to get that right doesn't even necessarily translate to the end look.
Yeah. Like, it's just a neat little trick, but it doesn't, like, I don't know. It doesn't, a good paint job does way more than just, like, and some of those weird tricks people do. Like,
I still think the best resin water I've seen on like a gaming competition miniature was that Matt DiPietro one. It was the Signar guys in like the canyon.
oh, I don't remember that one.
Thin coats of resin over the cotton. It looked really good.
Was it like?
It was like the quite red-orange canyon, and they were like peeking around the corner.
What was the water? It was like a.
It was just like a stream down the center, and it was quite shallow. It looked really good and convincing, though.
Yeah, I don't like deep water. A little bit of light of shallow water is fine. I'll have to go back and touch up some more pieces on that bird. Just I don't want to play around with it once it starts drying.
Just wreck part of the work you've done inside.
Yeah, well, it would like permanently wreck it because it's gonna have like a weird like blep, like what do you call it again? Because the mixed medium kind of dries rather thick on some parts. So if it pools and you remove a chunk of it, it's gonna like have this really harsh edge, and it'll actually add like depth to the miniature, which is never gonna be able to paint it away. I'll have to go back over and just do some two-brush blending on this armor here, because like the ink doesn't always work the way you want it to. Because likes to pool. He likes to use gravity, right? Because it's so thin. So you have to like, if you want to do a proper shade or a proper angle, because like I want to do like more shadow up here, but since I put anything up there, it's gonna kind of go down, which is not where light's gonna play. Because it'd be lighter up here and be darker up there, and so the ink doesn't work that great up while doing that. So I'll just go back with like a brown and play with it. I'm just using metallic paints for like all the gold and stuff like that, but I'm using like a wash over it, so it kind of dulls it. Is what you're kind of seeing, like. Because I'm not putting any wash on the very edges where I put the silver gold mix, so it kind of helps exaggerate the sheen.
That technique's called true metallic metals, as opposed to non-metallic metals when you're using flat paint to create a metal surface.
Well. Yeah, like true metallics is like a combination of non-metallics and metallic paints. So you basically like take a metallic paint and then add highlighting and lighting to it, and then you're basically like with metallic paint. So you're basically like not just adding a wash, but you're also adding like lightness to it and like other depth and other tricks to it, and then you basically add more metallics to make it shiny where you want it to be. Because I like to add like a lot of white. So I'll take, if I had like this guy with silver, I would take a white and do all this trim. Like I would do like a very extreme hedge highlighting on this guy, on like the very top parts, and then I go back over with like a very thin silver, and basically give it the metallic feel. And so that edges would always feel very bright. So you're basically adding the non-metallic element to the metallic paints, if you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. Sometimes I'm just very terrible at explaining things. If I don't understand what I'm trying to explain, just tell me and I'll blather on longer and see if once it hopefully gets through one of those times. Okay. Let's see. It just takes practice. I've done painting for more than a decade, so all it is practice and having a steady hand and having some decent eyesight. Though you can get around the eyesight thing with like glasses and magnifying glasses. Some people like the magnifying glasses. I've never used them before, because if you're getting that small, you're not going to be able to see it anyway. I'm just darkening the borders with some ink. between the gold and the blue. No, I don't use any kind of magnification at all. I just have two little flexible lights I put over top for the stream. So I got these two just arching over like this. I've never used a magnifying glass. And hopefully I never will have to. I just think if you're getting that small, it's already too small. It's just needlessly small, I guess you'd say. Like, there's no point going that fine. Because, like, if you can't see it, other people can't see it. Plus, you're not trying to go for, like, picture perfect either, right? It's a miniature. The miniature sculpt itself is never picture perfect. It's not like based off of real life, because it's done by somebody else, right? And so you just try and simplify it and have it the way you like it. Because there's no point in spending years on a miniature, getting every single little part perfect, because a waste of time, I find. Especially if you're learning. Sometimes you just say you're done and just finish it up, because you can't fix everything. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Exact same premise. It's like, sure, you could do like extreme, like zoom in and do all the pores and stuff like that, and like make it like all the lighting look perfectly, but nobody's ever gonna really notice that, except for maybe other fellow artists, and you're not really kind of trying to like sell it to those people. You're trying to sell it to people who don't really know the difference or care about the difference.
I think knowing when to stop is a
yes.
very important thing in almost every art.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
It boggles my mind that there are almost 40,000 people watching someone play Hearthstone right now.
Some people,
That's insane.
Well, I don't like watching sports, and the exact same thing. It's like watching other people play something else. I mean, I can understand doing like playoff games and stuff like that. Like watching a high-intensity level game of hockey is kind of cool, but not every single day or like 3 times a week or whatever. That's just, or not even a full game. Just the highlights. It's not my jam. Yeah, well, same with painting. Miniature painting it's very relaxing until you get to the point where you're like, where things go bad, and it's like, oh, and then it gets really frustrating. Then it's time to either like give up on the miniature, say you're done, or start another in the miniature, depending on what you're doing, right? Okay. So while the wash is drying, I'm gonna do some more metallics on this guy. Gonna add more silver to his backpack and stuff. because I'm just gonna make it pretty much all boring silver back here for the most part, and then make it a little more interesting with all like the wiring and stuff like that, and more weathering maybe, because it's like a very functional working like utilitarian backpack. And I think so. I might have like not rust, but like, you know, like a little bit of dirt and like carbon and stuff like that, because there's exhaust ports and stuff like that, and it's actually functioning back here compared to the rest of his armor, which is all very ornate. He's even got like some lights and wiring and stuff like that, so I'll make that interesting. But this is very functional and kind of very like industrial-esque back here. It's not very ornate. So I'm just gonna dumb it down, you might say. There's no need to make it look fancy. Because I'm not getting paid to make them like the actual concept art. I don't think anybody would really appreciate that. What is this actually? Let's see. What is that? Oh, it's blue and gold. I'll make it silver. Okay. I'm gonna just blue out all the things that are actually blue now. There's very few things that are now blue that I have to do. Like he's got his thing here. But it's actually very relaxing just painting with like some music. I remember one person really recommended like the watching the Lord of the Rings movies because it has some really epic and nice soundtracks to it. I just like watching like movies I've watched like 100 times because you can basically ignore it and just have like it's like background music, background noise. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, I like watching a lot. It's got a great soundtrack. Anything else blue? Oh yeah, this part's blue. And so. Okay. I'm gonna work on his what is that called again? His laurels. Yeah. So I'm not gonna do much of the edge highlighting until just before I'm doing the seal, because a lot of edge highlight comes off very easily because you're doing a very thin amount of paint on like the edges, like his fingers for example. You can see a lot of it's rubbing off because I touch it, and so I'm going to do that last before I do the gloss coat seal. I should actually start working on his shoulder pad too. Okay. Okay. So for the guy's shoulder pad, I'm just gonna like do the whole thing gray, then bring up the white, and then to make his the scroll work different, I'm just gonna do a bit of a wash over top of it. Be very lazy with that. I'll just give it more of a creamier kind of color. Where'd my gray go? So this is just more white and gray coat gray. brightening up the base coat. So I want it to white, so I don't want to go too dark. Oops. A little bit over paint. Okay. And then once this part is done, the base coat on this, I'm going to do the black wash on all the silver because that's dry at that point, I think. It's a little tacky, I can feel it. It's a different radio station before. It's more jazz than the epic music I had last time. I think it's Epic Station. It's definitely not very epic sounding. I guess it's a bit like video game music though.
No, you're on a different station.
Oh. What is this one then? Is this Epic Station?
Oh, mine was playing something different.
Alright, I guess it, well,
You can always skip it.
yeah.
Too much smooth jazz.
This one's called Dungeon Man's. It's okay. I don't know. Be very careful with the silver or any kind of metallics, because if you put your finger in a wet spot and you start transferring the silver paint around, you get these metallic flecks which are really hard to get rid of and fix. So I can feel the silver being tacky right here, and I shouldn't be doing this, but I am. Oh well. It hasn't transferred yet, so I'm kind of safe. A bit of blue I didn't do properly right there. I'll have to just a little bit of fixing up for a few parts. But that's towards the end. There's no real point doing all the little touch-ups on stream, because there's a couple hours of just tiny little touch-ups. It's very boring to watch, because you're fixing little blips here and there. Okay, let's do some more white. Actually, no, let's do a black wash. So this is just going to be, screw it, I'm just going to use the other one. Take my brown wash, add more green to it, and it darkens it, it makes it almost black. Unless you add too much green, like I did right there. I need some more brown. Alright. The green is very overpowering, I find. I like to have my metals just have a little hint of brown in my washes, just because most metals you put like oil or stuff like that are dirt, and so like most oil, grease, or whatever has a bit of brown tinge to it, or it's dirt, or even a little bit of rust is a bit of brown. So whatever you want it to be, you can, but it's mostly brown. Many shades of brown. I guess rust is more red, but depends on the metal. Okay. All the piping is gonna be black, I think. So be careful not to like start flicking paint around, especially when it's really wet like this. You get little black spots everywhere. I feel like they've changed the music on the station. It's much more epic and Lord of the Rings-esque style. Like more orchestratal. Orchestratal? I don't know. Last time. How would you say that? Orchestrative? No. It's probably not a word, is it?
Close.
Orchestral? Orchestral?
That finished mage on Facebook with the red cloak.
The blue light?
Yeah.
I think I did.
Oh, you did. I just...
Okay.
Never mind.
Tomorrow I'm gonna post the tiefling that I did. I gotta take a picture of it first, though. There we go. Good enough. I'm also going to darken up some of these joints too, because they should be a little darker. Orchestral. Yeah, I don't know how that, what the actual word for that be. Like, it has, it's got, there must be a word. Or maybe it's crazy. Got a more orchestral vibe. Because it thickens it up when you're doing more mixing medium, so you can kind of just darken the whole area instead of it going into the recesses. I think this guy's knee right here I didn't actually. I thought it would be darkened a bit more. And there we go. This is a bit better than this music. That's what more I was thinking of when I heard epic. When I said epic music. More grandiose. Let's see. I can do more of the deeper recesses, like a black. Oh, I should do that too, actually, before I forget. On the gold, because like the ink wasn't doing so great on the on this part, so I can take a umber and just deepen these shadows a bit more. especially in the bottom part. It's a bit like a wash if you're doing it really thin, but you have more control. It doesn't run everywhere. Especially if you want to do like just the most like raised areas, like right here on one that's darker. Because the weird lip it has. Okay, let's go back to the white part. Cinematic. Well, the station's called Epic, so I'm assuming it to be more epic, but like, it sounded like the video game music when you're like wandering through a field and like the first tutorial level. It didn't sound very epic. Okay. That's a little blip chap. And a little bit of water. Alright. Oh! Thanks, Webby. Orchestral. Yeah, maybe I'm just pronouncing it wrong or something like that. It doesn't sound right when I say it. Okay, let's do some white. My wet palette leaked a bit. Okay. So let's do a little bit of mix of gray and white. And then not touch any of the parts where I did a wash. And we're just gonna just do some layering. Kind of blocking out where I want it to be brightest.
Does he have lettering on his banner?
On his this?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually he's got his name on it. Yeah, so it's just in case somebody tries to wear his armor, because he's not the only Primarch in the Ultramarines. I don't know. He's like, cause like, look at him. So he's like huge, massive, and this guy is like a Primaris sized Marine, and he's like up to his nipple. It's just ridiculous.
He said he used to have his name stamped on him.
Yeah, it's like, don't forget who my name is. Well, I guess he's been like deep freeze forever, so maybe he might forget his own name. So, a little bit of what's it called again? Amnesia. That's why he has the Ultramarine symbols stamped everywhere, so he remembers which side he's on. Like, oh, the Chaos side looks kind of cool. They have spikes everywhere. I might go for them. Looks at his armor. He's like, oh wait, right, no, they're the bad guys. But they look so cool. They have skulls. Actually, he does. Yeah, I guess he has skulls everywhere too, doesn't he? Oh, this is a white skull, isn't it? I mean, for being a good guy, he's got a lot of skulls on him.
It's GW that all has skulls.
Do the orcs have skulls?
Yeah, they have like skulls on their like pointy helmets and stuff.
Oh yeah, they actually have like actual skulls. These guys just have artistic versions of skulls. Orcs are more hardcore. So when they find a skull they like, they just take
I
it.
guess these Harlequins actually don't really have skulls.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a skull mask for sure.
Yes, there is.
Can't escape without it.
Yeah, it's not 40k without a little bit of skullery. Skullduggery? I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna pick up the lettering with some washes. I'm just trying to brighten up some areas. Gonna bring it to a white. Alright. So far we've only got Webby and Papa Juliet Zulu for our contest.
That's a lie. Phoenix of Metal was talking earlier.
Oh yeah, sorry, with third person, sorry, Phoenix of Metal. Thank you.
That's why I'm huge.
I'm busy painting. I'm sorry. It's not a contest, except for the other people. Okay. But today's the first day of the contest, so it's not a huge deal. I'm gonna go for a smaller brush. My number 4 brush is, well, good, but it's not very fine. Let's go for my number 2 brush. It's easy to do the edge highlighting, make it more crisp. I'm hoping my black wash is dry, so when I start playing around like this, I don't have black fingers touching everywhere else. I like to actually do the edge highlighting first before I do blending. Kind of helps you figure out where you should stop the blending. I like to do the edge highlighting just a little farther than where you're actually going to blend. Kind of helps make it look more interesting. The GW method, just edge highlight everything. It looks good for some things, but it's not good for everything.
Not black.
It really depends on like the material. It doesn't really matter on the color. It's good for like very hard edges, but like for soft things, it doesn't look good at all. Like cloth, it looks terrible. That's why you don't really see much edge highlighted stuff when on like big competitions like Crystal Brush. I mean, it's a good method for certain things, but not for everything. Because you want a good combination of textures and highlighting and color combinations. Not just one thing will win you any. There's no one silver bullet. Oops, I have to blend this a little better. I normally do the opposite. I normally go start like with the white and bring it down, so just darken it and shade it. But this is such a detailed and complex area, and it's so tiny, you kind of have to do the layering instead of the two-brush blending. That's why it's taking a little longer. Because I can do a whole yellow Space Marine armies like very fast. You just prime it white and do base coat yellow. But when you're doing stupid stuff like this, it's just a little tedious and repetitive. It's okay though. Let's see. I'm almost done it. I'm gonna do the a little bit of Caspian flesh wash over it and just make it look a little different. And it'll help bring out the letters too. I'm not really caring about the letters because the wash will do that. If the wash doesn't fix it, I'll have to do it by hand, which is gonna suck. Okay. A little bit over painting there. Let's take some of this darker gray and just blend it. Needs more gray. So make it a little better blend right here. I'll make it a little darker. A little more contrast makes things a little more interesting. Interesting song. Okay. Also just pick out some of the edges too. Okay. One last edge highlight. And then I'm going to do some washing. I'm going to get this. I wet that area so I can do a nice smooth blend right here. I use my saliva just to wet in it, and then I'm a little bit of two-brush blending, kind of make it look more smooth. Okay, I think it's time for a wash. Just pick out some of these edges some more, just give it a little more pop. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna try some straight Caspian flesh. It's a desaturated kind of brownish yellow look. Good for scroll. There we go. And I might have to mix it up with some mixing medium, but I'm gonna try straight first. Excuse me. Okay. I need to do a little more darker wash on the edges, but maybe. Unfortunately, the name isn't standing as much as I hope. But I'll have to wait till it's dry. And since I got some of this, I'm just gonna just a bit of a wash on this. Let's try the mixing medium. I think it will work better using the one cloth. Let's try. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Anyway, that kind of stuff is for later. Okay. So that hand's basically done. I think the black is done. The black wash is done, so I'm gonna go and just deepen some shadows a bit with some ephemeral black. Because the wash doesn't do all the shadows good. And you can just exaggerate some parts. Thanks. He's a big model, so it's always slower than I hope. There's so much stuff to paint on this guy, and so many little details I gotta fix up and stuff. Let's do his that's halo. It's something. It's a halo of leaves. It's a wreath. There we go. So this is the Ordic olive, and I mix it in with some Mouth white. And I'm going to do mostly mouth white, just for the edges. And I'm going to go back over like a green ink, I think. Do black ink, it's going to look lazy and desaturated. But I am pretty much always about the lazy. Or you could say it's not being lazy, it's being efficient. Okay. Plus, I already got my green ink out anyway. So let's add a bit more green to it. Get a perfect combination of green and desaturated. Maybe a little too vibrant, so I'm gonna just take a little bit of Caspian Flesh Wash, and we'll hopefully tone it down a bit. Accidents. There we go. Yeah, because of the green ink I had was too blue, and then the Caspian had a little bit of yellow to it, so it kind of makes it more Ordic olive shaded. Okay. So mixing medium. Let's try that. Nope, needs more Ordic. That's not too bad. It's good to have a little bit of blue in there, because it's have a nice gradient from the yellow to the blue. It adds more depth, but not too much blue. There we go. Nice and easy and fast. His eyes are red, I think, on his helmet. Now, do I want to do his helmet now or later, or... Problem is, I want to do his eyes, but I want to do all the highlighting on the blue first, and then, because if I do the highlighting on the eyes and then do the blue, it might screw up what I've done already. So, just order of progress, order of operations, really. And his hand is blue as well. Because I also do, when I do all the blue, it's gonna be a lot of scratch marks on some parts. Like his feet are very bland, so I'm gonna make it a little more interesting with some like scratch marks. Any big blue areas, I'm gonna just scratch up a bit more. Okay, let's do his pipes. Let's just make them black. I'm gonna use like a thinned out black, and hopefully retain some of the silver on the edges, but look mainly black. Oops. Don't overpaint. There we go. So let's take a clean brush with not much paint on it and just remove some of this black. There we go. You kind of see why I'm not doing the blue right now, because I'm touching his hands and stuff like that. I'm rubbing off a lot of the blue edges. And so that's like the last thing I do before I seal it. So I want to, less work is better. So I do it now, it's going to rub off, and I'll do it again and again and again. These pipes I might make different. I might make them like a red or something else. But these tubey ones, the corrugated ones, I'll make them black. Yes, they're very tubey. Okay. Could even go fancy and make them yellow with black stripes.
Explain priming.
How to prime? Sorry. Looking at the concept art. So, plastic miniatures or any kind of miniature, the paint's meant to be like, it doesn't really bond to like those kind of materials very well. Because it's meant to be like, you know, just look good, not like be very, like some paints do, some paints don't. But the primer is meant to bond to both any kind of material, like any kind of like plastic or resin or metal, and as well as the paint. And so it'll basically, I guess, how does it bond? It bonds like at the atomic level kind of thing, or is it like?
Yeah, like etches itself in.
Yeah, it kind of like a chemical, kind of like just like it kind of like becomes one, and so like it'll still have the layer, but it won't rub off easy. So you can't like take your finger, go like this, and just rub it. It'll take a long time to do it compared to like sometimes you go like this and like a whole bunch of paint will just like come off. That means it wasn't bonded properly. It means you probably didn't prime it, because a lot of miniatures have like or at least because when you put them into a mold, you want to get them out of the mold easily so you don't ruin the mold, and so you have to take like a oil or whatever and spray it on, and then it comes off, but the release is still in the miniature, and so you have to wash it off and then still put a primer on it, because if you put the paint straight onto the model without washing it or putting a primer on it, it will kind of like stay on there, but any kind of like touching will make this whole part just like come off like in big like sloths. And so priming is important to keep the paint on. That's basically what it does. It makes sure, and also gives you, because this guy is gray, right? But I like to have my base coat white. And so I get white base coat, and it makes everything much more brighter, right? Because like his sword looks nice and bright, his blue looks nice and bright, and it's easier to go from bright colors and bring it down. A lot of people will try and do like a dark primer. It's easier to hide stuff and stuff like that, but you can't get bright. And people are like, I want to do white, and they prime it black, and it just takes infinitely long. Like it so long to me to do like this kind of white on like when I did a base coat of gray, and it takes so much longer. It makes the colors look chalky as well, right? Because if you go from like a light color down to a dark color, it keeps the saturation. But if you go up, it always looks chalky, and people have to go back down and try and wash it or whatever. So here I did like for the sword, I did red and went up to yellow, and then I went back and did the reverse process. Did orange then red, and it kept the saturation. But because I had the whole thing kind of darkened out with the silver, that's why I had to do that. But with the flames, I did the whole flames yellow, and then I went from yellow to orange to red to black, and then the flames took a lot less time. Some miniatures don't have to prime, like there's some like very few specific models that you need to prime, but or so you don't have to prime. It's just because it's a weird, like, I don't know what it's called. It's like I don't know what they do to the plastic itself, but it's like you don't have.
Coated in some way.
It's some kind of coated, and then those miniatures also, if you put a primer on top of it, it'll just never cure. So this permanently tacky model, and just be careful. Most like miniature games are you don't have that. Like the hard plastic, like the gray plastic, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But like some kind of board games have that kind of material used for the miniatures? Oh, no noise. I accept all kinds of skill levels and experiences, and I'm happy to explain anything. There are no dumb questions. It also really depends on the primer, right? Because I like to do, I use Style and Res primer. It's an airbrush primer, but you can also brush it on. It's very thin, it's very nice, and I've never had any problems with it. But like before I used to use Privateer Press. It was also a very good primer, but it was very thin, and it would. So if you wanted, you could never do two coats, or never do one coat or primer. You have to do two. And so some people will get like lazy and do one thick coat. And so since the Privateer Press paint is thin, it'll pool easier if you do too thick. And then if it's too thick, the primer will start cracking because it's not supposed to dry when it's super thick. And then, so just don't be impatient. And as well as also Games Workshop, I've had some, like, it's kind of chalky, like it's a different type of primer, and sometimes it's not, like, I don't know, it's either like a bad batch or just something.
It's very humidity sensitive.
Yeah, it's very humidity sensitive, so just basically be very careful with it. And sometimes you'll just get like you can see how smooth like the miniature is on this guy, like there's no rough parts, like it'll make it look grainy and sandy, which is terrifying. Like it almost make it look like this. I've seen some miniatures have like this kind of like texture on like smooth parts, and just like ugh. And so people have ruined their miniatures like that.
Because you can't always strip primer off again.
Yeah, because since primer will bond to the miniature, sometimes there's no chemicals in the world will remove that primer, so you're stuck with this ruined model. You can either try and fix it or just get a new one. And I don't like painting models that have been wrecked. Or I also don't like painting miniatures that are really, really, really delicate. Because, like, some miniatures will just break when you're painting them, and I don't like that at all. Like, let's see. There's this Arena Rex miniature. He is super delicate. Like, this thing, I don't want to, like, this thing's gonna snap off in an instant. It's resin. Same with this thing right here. It's like so delicate. It's like amazing looking miniature, and I like it. But it's like how do you play with that? Like this is for a board game. It's like this thing is. It's like oh, and then I'm gonna have to ship it to my client. And like how do you ship that? Just like I'm just very curious. It's like I like Privateer Press does a really good job of their miniatures. I don't have any here. But like they use like if this was like a Privateer Press resin metal miniature, it'd basically be like majority of this guy would be resin, except for like all the things that are very small and detailed, like a sword would be metal. Because like if this was a resin sword, it'd just like snap very easily. But the metal sword, it would bend a bit, but it wouldn't snap. Same with the fingers, right? So they did a very good job of their high quality like solos and stuff like that. Let's see. I have not. I don't. I like only using P3 because I do a lot of brush licking, and so I trust Privateer Press for their like non-toxicity. While I've heard about Voila being, even though sometimes they say they're non-toxic, it's like.
They're non-toxic for touch. They're not non-toxic for application.
Yeah, they're non-toxic for touching and getting on your skin, but they're not non-toxic for being ingested, which Privateer Press, they guarantee that you can ingest them. I mean, you're not supposed to ingest them, but like you can ingest them relatively safely. Let's see. Because
there's some Vallejo colors you actually can't even run through your airbrush.
Yes, there's some. Did you hear that? Yeah, just like it gets in the air and it gets inside of you, and just like it builds up in your system and it doesn't go away. It's like heavy metal poisoning for some parts. It's like lead paint in like baby toys. You don't want that stuff inside you. Well, okay, what was it working?
Explain brush licking.
So brush licking, so a lot of people will use water to thin your paints, and water is good, but it causes like a bathtub effect, where basically the pigment will kind of get pushed towards the edges because like it's drying at the edges faster than in the middle part, and so the pigment kind of gets pushed to the edges, and so it kind of leaves like this dark border because the pigment's kind of like there, and it kind of the inside is not very, there's not much pigment, so you have this really dark border. And it's like if you have like a glass of water and then you like let it dry, and you'll see like this rings of like minerals. It's basically like that, and you don't want that because you want to have a nice gradient, right? You don't want the pigment to start moving around when it's drying. Saliva doesn't do that. Saliva, when it cures, it does a nice gradient. It doesn't shift at all, which is perfect. And so a lot of times I'm mixing my paint. I'm thinning out my paints with my saliva. But then at that point, sometimes you're getting paint in your mouth, and then you don't always get rid of all the paint in your mouth, so you just ingest some of it. And so that's what brush licking is. Actively using your own saliva as a medium for your paint. Let's see. What was I even working on here? I forget. Okay, let's just do some of the blue. Before I forget. Yes, basically that's what it is. Water is good, but not great. There is a couple like Facebook pages that are called like Brush Lickers United, stuff like that. And this is why I use non-toxic paints that actually are meant for two-brush blending. Because like when proper two-brush blending is taking one brush, your dirty brush, and then taking your other brush, which is clean, licking it, and then using that brush to blend. So you apply a paint with this with the paint, and you then start moving it around with your clean brush. I'm kind of lazy and just use one brush for the most part. If it's really big flat surface, I'll use two brushes, but for like thin, small areas, I just use two. Or one brush, sorry. Okay. This kind of sounds like that's one of the songs from, not Interstellar, that one video game. Interspace? Interspace? Maybe it was that. I think it is that song. It doesn't actually say. Some professionals will even use a hairdryer to dry their paint faster, so they can work on it more efficiently. I just blow on it or just do a different area.
I don't think a hairdryer would be a very nice sound for the stream.
Oh no, you definitely don't do it as a streaming. So right now I'm doing like the reverse I was doing on the other blue armor. I'm doing dark and bringing it up, and it kind of looks a little more chalky, you can kind of notice. Not as vibrant. More dull and desaturated. So I'll have to go back over with the blue again and darken it and give it more saturation. So I'm going to over highlight a bit. just because it wasn't a very big spot of blue area, so I just was kind of lazy with it. I was doing all the gold at that time. Okay. Yeah. For the most part, it's basically done. It's just a whole bunch of like little things that I don't care about, like doing the purity seals and doing whatever else. Highlighting. Pretty close for calling it a day right now, but let's finish, I believe. So you kind of see how like the blue looks quite different, at least from my point of view. This is kind of like a chalkier version of this. It's like, and so because I went from a dark color and brought it up to a lighter color. Instead, this is the way I went from a light color and brought it down. So I'm just going to try and resaturate it. And just take this and just deepen it a bit. Because I over highlighted a bit and I'm deepening it with that Signar blue. What is this little tassel thing on his belt like? Oh, it's silver. Okay, well that's easy to do. I even have some silver left on my palette. I should maybe finish up his little his shoulder thing. Let's take some calcite flesh. It's a little deeper brown. I'm gonna mix it with some that calcite and Caspian, because the calcite's a little like really red warm, and the Caspian's a little cooler. So I'm gonna, but it's the calcite's a little darker, and deeper. So I'm gonna just do it along the edges, the side parts. Many more things to fix up, but like his laurel could use a bit more loving. Little spot checks for the. Even go for a darker. I was using my mouth to clean up my brush sometimes, like I did with the ink red there. It's a bad habit. You shouldn't use your mouth to clean things. I'm not a cat. That's why I use non-toxics. A lot of paint is very time sensitive, so faster the better, but then sometimes you're just ruining your body. Building up the heavy metals in your body. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of little things I can do. but it's much more annoying to do them on stream, and it's not very interesting. Let's see. It's just finicky work, really. So I might be calling it a day. That's 2 hours. He's done for the most part. I mean, it's probably another 2 hours of just doing little details and stuff.
And the base.
Yes, the good old-fashioned elbow grease. Thanks. I mean, some people, it's more realistic to go for the unsaturated washout look because, like, but it doesn't look interesting, right? I prefer high saturation because it's cartoony, but it's not a realistic thing, right? It's not, you're not going for like a realistic look. I mean, some people can do realistic looks, but I don't like it. It kind of looks boring, and you kind of want to make your own kind of like style, right? You want to exaggerate certain things, and just let me just do a little bit of a wash on this guy's. There we go. Yeah, I mean the base isn't done. Like there's a lot of little things I can have to do, but like for the most part, it's like I have to do all the, like the little purity seals and do like a red wax, the white that, and like the red handle here, and same there. All the little like wires, I make them different colors and stuff, like yellows and reds and whatever, make it a little more interesting, and like stuff like that. But it's like it's just a lot of little touching ups to do. And like this is all gonna be gray, and there's like wiring and stuff in here too. I mean, there's like tons of little skulls and stuff like that you can see in the base, and like, there's like even mechanical bits, and like yeah, and there's like a wrench right there if you can see that. But yeah, I don't really care about that stuff. I don't like really, do that stuff in stream, because like there's like a finished one for like this is advanced quality, and like I blacked out the base and stuff like that, and added some grass to it, and so yeah, he's even got some grass sculpted onto his base, but whatever. This is a Blood Bowl orc from the same a different client actually. Sorry.
Are we gonna rate?
We're gonna rate somebody. Okay, cool. This is a 20-minute miniature. This speed painting competition. I like that guy. So we're gonna do a raid, and thank you for all for watching, and see you next time on Thursday, 5 p.m. We're gonna be doing another one of these chibis. This is one I did. I think this is the last one. No, this is the last one I did. So I'm gonna do another one of these style. Whoops, I haven't. This is about 2 hours for these guys. And so I'll be doing another one of these guys on Thursday. No problem. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. So we're going to be rating who?
Snickersnack.
We're rating Snickersnack. It's 5 p.m. Eastern, or sorry, Pacific Day? Daylight time? So, yeah.
3 hours later than this one started.
Yes. Alright. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll be posting the times too anyway on my Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. So have a good one.